Hey guys, welcome to another Fair Dinkum episode. This time we had Sem Kakembo on again. We spoke a little bit about the journey of life, his first pro fight, a bit about the UFC, and then we also touched on a bit of anime, which I don't really know why, but we did. So, enjoy the episode, and inshallah we'll see you soon.
I took it more intense in absolute. Okay. They would always push you, but it's up to you to push to the next. I'm blessed that we have the team there that you can, because you can only go as far as the resources you have available, and they're all there, and the team and everyone is mad at the people there to help out. But I really pushed it, and I definitely made sure I was good to go. I wanted 3 rounds. Yeah. I wanted 3 rounds.
You wanted to fight more.
But it is what it is. But I felt so calm. Even out there, I remember I looked at my coach, and I'm just like, bro, I'm so calm. I don't even feel like I'm about to fight. I don't even feel like I'm about to fight. And he's like, do you want me to G you up?
That they only shoot every 300 years or some shit. Like some meat you can't taste unless you're in a certain area.
Becomes a new standard.
Do you remember Kevin Hart when he spoke about it? He goes, like, professional athletes, their money is different. Because Kevin Hart, we know, movies, comedy, whatever he needs, photo shoots, he's going to make millions. Yeah. But he goes, when I hang out with athletes, they just spend 40, 50, 60,000 a night like it's nothing.
Yeah, laugh. It's
and he goes like, they'll just spend 15,000 on drinks or on a meal like a... You know, we think caviar is the most expensive. There's some random thing we've never heard of. It's like 10,000 addition. I'll just be like, yeah, here. Because they make 150,000 a week. So what's 50,000? It's like if we make 750, we spend 250 in a week on expenses.
They're just living on a different... Yeah. That's why they still have the same struggles. They still go broke. Because they still make... It comes down to who they are. Yeah. And
it's also like like they say people that used to make it 120 and then they go to making like 80k a year, they can't, their living expenses are 120 a year or 150 a year. That's what they're used to. So they can't,
live within your means.
There's a podcast called I'm Athlete. Have you seen it?
Called what?
I'm Athlete.
No. I'm an athlete, no.
I'm Athlete basically is...
LeBron James?
No, there's these retired NFL players.
I remember the Dwayne Wade, yeah.
So there's retired NFL players. They have like a podcast where they talk about financial... Oh, sorry, bro. That was my bad. My camera's flash is still gone. But basically, what they do is they have 4 or 5 brothers that retired from the NFL, or they got obviously delisted, or they don't have any more like teams that want them. And basically, they come on, they talk about struggles for men, whether it's like mental, financial, physical, all that sort of stuff. And you look at these guys, bro, they're hench.
They're 45 with better bodies than all of us.
That's good. It'll make you realize that everyone has some issue. Doesn't matter what's going on.
Yeah. And one of the guys on there, that he spoke about when you initially come into the NFL, and how many of their friends that they see when they first come into the NFL and they get that 1.7 million contract. Yeah. That's the rookie base, or something, 1.7. I don't know what it is rookie exactly.
US
now 1.7 million. That's a lot.
Nothing. That's
but the problem is, you made nothing.
They get the money, they get the money, and then they go, okay, that means I have 1.7 mil to spend. It's not
that's their mindset.
Yeah. I have to go and get a house now, and then they have to do the payments.
Not how much you make, how much you keep.
It's the mindset.
Also, you know, Tyler Hero, like a NBA player, he got his rookie contract, and they said if you get a financial advisor and you invest your original 2 million you get in your rookie contract, you'll be set for life. So their rookie contract, if it's done strategically, they're actually set for life.
To go. That's why you need to have someone there to tell you these things. And if not, I'm pretty sure they would. Wouldn't the organization put people in place like that?
No, bro.
It depends on the organization. If they're all like banter guys, they go drinking and stuff like that.
You gotta have the right people around you. You need to have the right people around you.
Yeah.
Always. And you need to look out for yourself as well. You can't always depend and rely on that. Take it under your own, it's up to you.
You know, that concept there is, they asked LeBron James that the whole time, like, why has he kept, the 5 guys that he started with from the get around him from like all the way till he made it to the top.
I rate that.
And that's why he started, the whole I'm an athlete movement. He started all these like businesses.
More than an athlete.
More than an athlete.
Yeah.
Then
he took him back 2 steps.
Then there was the other one.
More than athlete. No,
there's the podcast with Maverick Carter. The podcast like Maverick Carter, needing dough. Yeah, and the whole concept about it is like for like Black African athletes who don't know about stuff about money, they're not financially literate. How can they spend their money? So Maverick Carter, who was one of LeBron James' friends from the get,
is he on Barbershop?
He's on Barbershop as well. He's the one with
the dreads.
The little bit of a dreads. Not Rich Paul, his agent. The other one.
Oh, okay,
You see Rich Paul and Maverick.
Undisputed? Is that a...
It's the barber shop. What LeBron James does.
But I saw that it's back now. People
The shop,
posting about it.
the shop.
The shop. Okay,
The shop, yeah.
It's like they try to do like a barbershop convo and they get people on, celebrities, not just athletes. They get everyone and they kind of just have chats about life.
Man.
And the one question they ask all athletes, and not even just athletes, they even ask just like black people in general, is like, what did you do with your first salary that you got? Yeah? And a lot of them just spent it. No one knew what to do with their money. You know what I mean?
Standard.
Clay Thompson didn't know what to do with their money. You know what I mean?
And his dad's was
think about the age they get in there.
Yeah.
19, 20, 21.
And they got this
NFL.
NFL.
Age. Who's going to even listen
a lot of
at
them
that
have
point?
had tough lives, tough upbringings. So for them, it's like, for example, I just say 100,000. You don't be like, I'll invest it and I don't change.
And who they look up to, bro.
Yeah.
Like they're looking at, for example, I don't know, the rappers and all that, and they just
nice Gucci and wearing nice clothes.
Yeah, they get some drip and
Yeah.
And that sounds so bad.
And also, not on top of that,
I think it's important to, keep the real people around you.
Yeah.
The real people. And that's something you always feel as opposed to what people say. You can feel authenticity. You can feel something genuine. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
bro.
keep those real people and you're good to go. People that can check you, people that are going to treat you the same, they're not going to treat you different, like something else is going on. That's the key.
And also, going back to Susan's thing, it's not about looking up to the rappers and all that kind of stuff. It's more about a lot of these people, they come from backgrounds where everyone depends on them. So when they make it, there's 15 people that I don't know come out of nowhere and say, hey, can you buy me this? Can you buy me that? Can you buy me that?
You got to identify what your circle is very quickly, very early.
Exactly.
So that by the time things are there, you know what you can do, what you can't do.
But it's financial knowledge in knowing what you want your future to look like. Is it just basketball? You have to foresee, I might get injured. I might be out of the league in a couple of years. Like I know Elon Musk, when he was with PayPal, he sold it 180 million, and that was his share.
Yep.
He divided it up, 90 million for SpaceX and 90 million for Tesla, and he borrowed money to pay rent.
Yeah.
He could have did 179.8 or 0.2 million and took 800,000 and bought a house and never worried about rent.
Yeah.
He goes, not every single dollar is
That shows you
splitting
his
it.
mindset, yeah.
But that was his mindset. It's like, I need to put whatever I can and borrow money for rent.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I know SpaceX and Tesla are going to be... Bro, General Motors, 1940, and Tesla starting in like 2000. Now look at it. How can you win market share in a company like that? You know? And now Tesla is like, everyone wants a Tesla.
Everyone wants to share
Every YouTuber's got a Tesla.
People are shouting out Tesla and Elon Musk at the end of fights. Benil Dariush. On there.
Did he?
Yeah, he went on there. He ordered the car, it didn't come in yet. So he started roasting him. He goes, where's my car, whatever. The guy actually sent him a free car until he's actually developed. He goes, here, take this one.
It's marketing, bro. We're talking about it now.
Bro, that's smart, bro.
That's David Dobrik
You
and
talk,
stuff, yeah.
there you go.
Oh, you're gonna shout him out, tell him to get a Tesla and shout
Get a
out
Tesla,
next
please.
season.
Well, shout out Ford. Give me a Ford Falcon.
No, don't.
Old school.
I want you to remake it to Aga.
Nah, man.
Just actually ask for XR6, bro. That's bad.
Yeah, just touching on that more, bro. MJ, you know what happened when they gave him his initial contract? They go, hey, do you want the whole thing in Dosh, or do you want they have like an offering, a part of the Chicago Bulls, like he can have a share in the ownership of Chicago Bulls. He goes, nah, give me the share, give me the percentage,
smart.
and he made them, bro. Imagine,
Yeah, but people around the gym now, I
Because
see
he
always
knew
wear
what he was
Chicago
gonna do.
Bulls hat and jerseys and jumpers. It's like
That's all money in the bank.
That's MJ.
You think of Chicago, you think of MJ. It's simple as that. You see red and black and white, you locate, think of MJ. It is what it is at the end of the day.
yeah, bro.
Yeah.
He became an icon. He became a brand himself. One of the first athletes to push beyond the sport
Yeah.
into global recognition. People that don't even know what basketball is, they couldn't tell you what a three-pointer was, and they know MJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh,
Mike or I want to
the
jump, Air Jordan. It's
Man,
like the shoes there. Like right now I have the shoes there. Someone posted a video of them watching Fair Dinkum. They circled my shoes and they showed in their bedroom they had the same shoes. Like that's iconic. You look at it, you're like, that's Jordans.
Yeah, bro, it's
You know?
ridiculous. But there's a big risk to all these guys getting and making it. There's a big risk because it's not, like you said, it's not a regular lifestyle. It's not a regular lifestyle. If you don't find ways to balance yourself out, if you don't stick to your roots, before you know it, you're gonna be disillusioned, fall off. What's gonna be there when things are gone?
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
right.
You're gonna build characters and traits and different things throughout their lifestyle, and then when it's all gone, they've still got those things.
Yeah.
But they don't serve you anymore.
Wallah.
Yeah. Creating a
There's
brand
like
that's
a price
surprising.
and sacrifice with
That's
success.
why I try and tell myself and everyone else that's training pretty hard, that want to do something professionally or big, make yourself bigger than the thing you're doing. Don't make that everything about who you are. No, make it. This is just like the same thing with the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm running a podcast. It's a vehicle for my self-development.
Yeah.
In order to get this podcast to the top, I'm going to have to develop characteristics.
For sure.
Marketing, also commitment, longevity, all the same characteristics that are in any other pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to develop them in this pursuit. Same thing with fighting for me. Same thing with anything else. That's the concept I try to tell people.
Yeah.
Building a legacy, essentially, isn't it?
Building it, but making it a vehicle for your own development, for your own growth, as opposed to, my whole life is fighting, or my whole life is basketball. Like Canelo has a tat, no boxing, no life. No boxing, no life. He's a machine, but.
Yeah, no, he's a machine. He's a
Yeah.
machine. But you think about it, and you're like, oh damn! Like when he can't go anymore, because obviously you get punched out at a certain point. Yeah, like what is Canelo's life gonna be like? Is he gonna be similar to Anderson Silva, and that you see the decline, and it kind of tarnishes his reputation, or is he gonna be able to kind of like pull the shit? Because Andre Ward, for example, yeah, everyone
He's
looks
done
at.
well. He's done really well. One of the only to retire at the top. Imagine how hard that must be, especially the characteristics you've developed that take you there. You have to have another characteristic in the background, or maybe it's a voice, or maybe it's a community, maybe it's something else that can give you that push in the right direction.
Definitely.
But when I say it's not everything, I'm not saying, because I can see a younger version of myself hearing that and going, you need full commitment, otherwise if this isn't your main thing, and understood. It's not about that. There's more to life.
More than an athlete.
That
Well,
shouldn't
LeBron said,
offend
yeah.
anyone that is committed to a dream. There's more to life. Exactly, more than an athlete, but there's more to life. This can just be another thing. There's nothing more special about this than someone becoming the best in any other field, the best teacher, the best anything. It's just a different thing, a different vocation. You should use it the same way.
Compartmentalize. Yeah. So basically, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Otherwise, you'll have like an identity crisis at a certain point.
Yeah, that's one of the traps of it. The main thing I'm trying to say, I don't can say it's simple, is there's a deeper meaning to life. If you have religion as your base, then you can understand that. If you have a different element as your base, you can understand that. But there's a deeper.
I see that with a lot of people. Like, I don't know very famous people, but for example, like Bashar or Adam or something. It's like when you meet them, football is something they do. It's just their job. You know, it's not like, oh my
It's what I
God.
put my energy into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every time someone comes to me, oh my God, footy. It's like, it's just something they do. There's so much more. Like, they both have children, or they have family, they have hobbies, they like TV shows, they might like to just go out, they like fishing or something. There's so much more things in their life, but sometimes we come from a lens, oh, it's only basketball, it's only this.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes when people, like, for example, get into politics or get into other avenues, it's like, no, I only know you as one thing.
Yeah,
But it's like, that's what us, especially, like, if we're delving, you know, wholeheartedly into something, we have to make sure we at least have a foundation in the deen and then other areas of our life.
Yeah, when I was
100%.
talking to Bashar before we brought him on for the podcast, I remember telling him like I went through a rundown of what I wanted to talk to him about, and then I was going to him like, hey, like, do you want me to? I wanted to delve into like who he looked up to as a kid, as a footballer, and and he goes, if you ask me that question, you'll get a blank answer. I go like, why would it be a blank answer? Like, you didn't when I was growing up. Bro, I knew the stats of every player that I loved, you know?
Yeah.
Like Scott West, for example.
I even knew FIFA stats, bro. I even knew FIFA stats.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know his pace, bro, on FIFA. It's like 94 pace, whatever. But basically, I remember going to him like, yeah, and then he's like, nah, I didn't really focus too much on that. I didn't really I don't love football like that. He goes, it's something that I do, but it's not the be all and end all of my life. He goes, if you ask me about that sort of stuff, because I'm going to give you a very cliche answer. I can't tell you why I like him, but it's just basically what I remember.
I just look up to him.
So, yeah.
Crazy, not surprised. Not surprised. And it's like, the dilemma is, okay, I think I can see now why that might have offended my younger self or other people. Because the dilemma is, can I become the best in this or achieve what I want to achieve without committing everything? And the answer is, you're still committing everything. It's just, you're not making that everything. You still commit time. You still commit energy towards it.
It's the mindset on that.
Yeah.
The mindset, at the end of the day, you still go home and sleep.
And also, it's that balance of like the identity thing as well. like if you want to become a basketball player, you should be doing things, or like let's just say a fighter, you should be doing things that a fighter does. But like you said, it shouldn't be the be all end all. Because I think some people have like, they fail to find that balance. You know what I mean? They either go too extreme in one aspect where, for example, like the politic things, like you think of a person and all you can think is politics, all you can think of is footy or fighting. You know what I mean? But there's other aspects to them. And then there's also people that are like, I guess, too humble in a sense. You know what I mean? Where they lack that the ability to grab that identity and say, hey, like I am the fighter. You know what I mean? I want to get up every single morning and do what a fighter does and act like what a fighter does. You know what I mean? So you need that balance to find it to the point where it doesn't overtake your whole identity, like as Abdul or as Sem and whatnot.
Identity, that's the key one. That's the key word here. Don't make it your entire identity. It doesn't mean you're going to hold yourself back from achieving things. No, you can still go as far as you can, put everything in as you want, but don't make it your identity. Also, don't make it your entire life. But again, depends on how people are, where they're at when they hear it. But it doesn't mean at all. It's not saying, oh, you're not committed to your goal, you're not committed to your dream. No.
But also identity can change, but this is my opinion, yeah? But like identity can change, but like your fundamental and your principles should stay there throughout. Do you get what I mean? Like for example, like Ashraf and Sohail, for example, might be a certain way with me, but then when they're interacting with other people, they sort of shift into a degree. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you get what I mean? But I know fundamentally what Ashraf stands for. Fundamentally, I know what you stand for and Sohail stands for. Do you know what I mean? It's like the whole saying with like Malcolm X, like a guy that, like a person who doesn't stand for anything will fall for anything. Do you know what I mean? I should be able to look at you and be like, yo, like I know this guy is like, he's a solid dude. Do you know what I mean? He has these bases, these fundamentals, where the identities change as you go along. So if you want to be a fighter on a certain aspect, that doesn't make it your whole identity.
And also people that people that have like I've chatted about this identity thing before with other people, identity crisis and whatnot. And you think, who am I? Am I this person at home, this person in the gym, this person at work, this person with these friends? You're all those things at the same time. You don't have to limit yourself to this is entirely the one perspective that I am when I'm with this group or this person. No. I think your core is a mix of all these things. I think.
So that you think that makes up your identity?
I think identity, it's a hard one. I struggle to even commit to a definition of it. But I think who we think we are is a culmination of many different things. It's not one set thing.
For sure. I'm with that as well.
You are here when you speak, like you said, if you speak to Ashraf, it doesn't mean that Ashraf interacting with someone else in a different way isn't the real Ashraf.
Yeah, 100%.
Still all the same person.
I was thinking about like identity. If you don't base it around what you do, but maybe like what you do, like what's the specific goal, but you base it around like the actions before it, like maybe hard work or discipline, determination, resilience. You base it around that. It can kind of change. So I know, for example, Kobe. We all know the stories. 4 workouts a day, and it was his life. Basketball. He like his wife used to get annoyed at him, and she like the stories like at his Hall of Fame speech. She's like, if you're gonna leave, make sure you come back with a ring. Because he just didn't spend time with his kids. But then after his injuries, like after he won his 5th title, he's like, I need to spend time with my girls. They're growing up. So he kind of based his life around that. Then he made a comic book. Then he made a movie and he won an Oscar. Like his life, he says his life changed from basketball to business, but the habits didn't change. I was as hardworking, but in family life. And then so your identity can change in the sense of like, see how we think Basha is only footy. Or other people like are only fighting. It's like you can go through different stages in your life, but the amount of like effort and determination you put into it is just going to stay the same. That's your identity. It's like, I'm a hardworking person, you know? And Kobe, like, Kobe's trainer and Michael Jordan's trainer, Tim Grover, he just has
that guy, he's got a lot of resources on meditation as well.
He does? Interesting.
That's what I'm delving into today, a bit of meditation.
He has a new book called Winning. Who's a better winner than Michael Jordan or Kobe? Like these guys' mindset. So, and he has the same kind of mindset. So he speaks about, and he talks about Kobe. He goes, Kobe, when he left basketball, wanted to leave basketball and have a break. That's why I started doing this. And he goes, after that, his goals were beyond anything I've ever heard of. Like the guy's obviously talking. He didn't talk to Kobe about it, but he's like, I believe Kobe would have wanted his daughter to be the first female in the NBA.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how high Kobe's aspirations were. And then he goes, Kobe's the king of LA. Like LA is his, but in the basketball, but he goes, he wanted to make LA like, he just wanted to take over LA. Everything is him. Like how people now say he should become the logo. Kobe was gonna take over, like
Yeah.
in the business phase. It's like, you know,
Did
but his
he take
identity
over?
changed though.
Bro,
His identity changed like into business.
Yeah.
But it's like he still stayed the same to who he was, his foundation.
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
me, because this was actually a recent thing. So before my pro debut, which I've shared with people, but I haven't put it on any platform or whatnot,
Exclusive.
was I
Like, comment, subscribe to hear the rest.
I actually wasn't sure. So what happened was I was much more self-aware. I developed some self-awareness, I believe. And I was looking back at a lot of the things and the reasons motivating me to do what I do, right? And they weren't satisfactory to me. And I was like, well, then I don't actually want to fight. Because to me, this was a big step forward, you know, professional debut with everything that I want to accomplish. I was like, I know this was it wasn't something influenced by the nature of this big event. No, it was like, I just was at a stage. I still went through training camp. I was like, I knew I was going to win, alhamdulillah, and I was like, all good. But in my head, I was like, do I want to fight? Because the whole thing about identity and whatnot, I was thinking, there are so many things I could do. Once the reasons for fighting were made clear to me and they weren't satisfactory to me, I was like, there's no reason to, because if I realize something, I'm not going to stick around. I'm like, well, there's no reason to. And I had some time to myself. In between training, I would just kick back and think, all right, I'm still going to get this W, but after that, I'll figure out whether or not I'm going to actually do this. Because I'm like, if I don't do this, I can still put all my time and energy into so many other areas, you know, and have a great time into so many other areas. It is what it is. I had a good chat with the guy, Daniel Herbertson, who I have to mention, from Absolute MMA. He's a blessing to that whole gym, bro.
Shout out to him.
He was a unique flavor to the gym.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it a bit different than just a fighting gym.
Yeah.
But where I ended up, and I kind of finalized it, clarified it when I went camping, was what I mentioned about martial arts fighting is the vehicle towards my full potential.
Okay.
So this is where I'm putting my energy into. And like you said, with Kobe leaving and coming, I have even bigger goals. It was the same for me. I was like, okay, mad. But that's it, summarized. For me, martial arts fighting is now, it's the vehicle towards my full potential.
I think Bruce Lee had the same mindset. We said, like,
Yeah.
it's just a way of life.
Okay.
You know, it's not the end all, because we know Bruce Lee, like, he was an icon, you know.
Maverick.
Yeah.
Ahead of his time too.
Yeah.
But that's where I ended up. And to clarify it, you can put all your energy into this vehicle, develop characteristics like discipline, intuition, all these things you can develop through this goal. And at the same time, it clarified also, what am I doing here fighting? I want to fight the best people, because for me, martial arts is non-negotiable. After having done it, if I have kids, inshallah, I'll say, of course, it's a non-negotiable. It's like learning anything else.
Boys and girls?
Boys and girls, stock standard.
All right.
You don't have to compete. You need to know
The fundamentals.
fundamentals and have some physical training as a regular thing. But I said, okay, if that's the tool, that's the area I've chosen, all these things I have to develop around it.
Yeah.
And part of that is, how do you test your skill in martial arts? You need to compete. Okay, so I'm going to be fighting then in a cage. And then how do you know that that you've developed it to its fullest? You need to fight the best guys that you can. So even though there's a process, you have to fight guys that may not be as good, or guys you're expected to win against. The goal is, for sure, fight the best guys. That's it. Fight the best guys, beat the best guys.
Meaning in the UFC as well.
Wherever they
Of course.
But in
At
the
the
UFC
top.
is where they're at.
At
Yeah.
the top.
They're at,
At
yeah.
the top.
Bro, it's like, you know what they say, you know, like people, when they first go ahead, like say, for example, you're fearing fighting, yeah? And then there's a bully you want to go and, like, you know, like confront, and then you shit in yourself before you actually go to confront the person. You know very well that there might be altercation here, yeah? A lot of the time, yeah, people think, oh, like my hands are going to get weak, and then when I hit the guy, and a lot of people, their first punch is the weakest thing ever. Like when you ever connect the first punch on anyone, it's the weakest thing.
Right, headbutt.
Yeah. They always
Gonna
go,
do good.
they always
Well,
go
I'm gonna try that.
punch through to the other side. So basically you want to put your fist behind his head.
Gotcha.
So like you're aiming at something beyond what it
punch
is.
through.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is, if I get the UFC championship on the way, it is what it is.
That's a good way of putting it. That
Yeah,
honestly,
I
because
like
I feel like that when you said that,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
summarized what I'm saying. It's a good
Yeah.
example of it. It's aiming beyond it, and everything else is along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Winning a world title, that's going to be along the way.
Mm-hmm.
These things will come along the way towards reaching for your full potential. It's not now that this is my whole thing. This is everything. It's like, no. Along the way, these things. And I would argue you can use that for anything. Let's say you're playing soccer. You could say, I'm going to use this as a vehicle for my full potential. Now you're destined to go as far as you can in that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Things like personal management, things like communication, things like working within a team.
Yeah,
These are all things you're going to, every single element of everything can be imbued in that one vehicle. Managing my teammates, knowing my role within the team, seeing how I can offer other things, communication, let alone all the other attributes we mentioned.
The dark side of just making, like for example, realizing a UFC championship in your life. They've already had we've already had examples of that. Like Tyson Fury, you heard his story on Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Basically,
A beautiful story.
oh, it's not really that beautiful.
Right.
Basically, but basically Tyson Fury, like when he was younger and he was an up-and-coming boxer, he said to himself, "My life goal and ambition is to beat Vladimir Klitschko and win that title." And basically, you know the story. He gets up and coming. Yeah, he's never lost a fight. Even till today, he hasn't lost a fight. But basically, his whole sole goal in life was that, see, I'm training to beat this guy.
Klitschko, yeah.
He realized that he beat him.
What's left?
He was the first to beat him in 10 years or something like that, 12 years. And then basically he goes, after that, I didn't know what the hell was my life. Like, where am I going? What am I doing? And he said, like, he attempted suicide, overdosed on drugs, like drinking, and he went out a lot. And then he wanted to drive his Ferrari. Like,
He wanted to crash.
Off the bridge. He wanted to crash it off the bridge.
So yeah, bro, that sort of stuff, man, it makes a lot of sense when you're talking what you're talking right now.
Because he had an end goal. It wasn't the means to like further goals.
Yeah, and then also, bro, it's like if you make something the be all and end all of your life, like, is that the end? You know?
Yeah.
Like, what else? You know?
Yeah.
Something so external. Like
Exactly.
he could have got injured.
Exactly.
Like not
That's the
Tyson,
thing.
but anything else could have happened. Where it's like they just don't want to give you the fight,
Yeah.
and it's like if that's your end all, it would just
Yeah,
affect
well,
your mental health so much more.
but why-
Keyword external.
Yeah.
Putting too much on the external. When what is all this anyway?
Yeah, that's true.
Hasha Allah, bro.
That's true. That's
Putting
good
it all
for
there, and
question.
what is all this anyway,
Yeah.
bro?
Me and Ali were talking about it last time, bro. It's like, you know, when you think about the body itself and then the soul, it's like a bottle and then the water inside is actually us, you know? Like the
It's
bottle
just the
itself
vessel.
is just the vessel, bro. It's
Yeah.
just like,
yeah.
we're not drinking it and it doesn't have any benefit to us, but it's like we've been given that as an amana to hold whatever's inside us, and then what we're going to be judged on, obviously, because we believe in the afterlife.
How we conducted.
Yeah,
this
that's
vessel,
true.
Yeah.
Exactly, bro.
But why I say Tyson Fury's story was beautiful was because a lot of people would have looked at like the guys that are all on the top, whether celebrities, top fighters and stuff like that, and think they're cruising through life. Do you know what I mean? They think they get one sort of success, then they make money, and then they win titles, they win championships, and then that's like the end. Do you know what I mean? But mentally in their head, who could have looked at Tyson Fury and be like, oh, this guy's going through it all? Do you know what I mean? How hard is it to fathom? And to be honest, we probably can't even fathom and understand what he actually went through.
Crazy.
Because to see a guy go through the top and actually not want it anymore and say like, what's the point behind it? That's like with anything we go through in our lives. Do you know what I mean? That's how we should have like a bigger goal behind what we do. And alhamdulillah, that's one thing. You listen to the Tyson Fury story as well, and you go alhamdulillah for having deen. Do you know what I mean? Because you realize his story and you think about it. He had nothing concrete in his life. Do you know what I mean? He didn't have a pillar that was keeping him grounded. Do you know what I mean? He thought winning that championship was keeping him grounded, but he got to that championship stage and he's like, "Oh, I got it, but what's more?"
A lot of emptiness there. That would just be the band-aid covering the wound.
And that's the whole idea of the dunya at the end of the day. Like, we're constantly chasing something, and then once we grab it, we chase something else. Do you know what I mean? So we're in that, like, then we get tired at one stage, you know?
That's why external is what it is.
Pretty, it's nice, it's good to the eye, to the senses and stuff like that. But beyond it, you know,
Yeah.
you kind of have to think about life like, as a whole, because what do we get, 70 years? 80 years, inshallah. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses us, that's the average.
Yeah,
Even if
for
it's
sure.
more, if 90 is nothing still. 90.
I want to hear about your pro fight because we haven't seen you since.
Oh, yeah.
Like, was it honestly like very different to amateur?
Very different. Because I remember when we were here, we were chatting about it. It's a laugh. and then now here we are pro. Yeah, it was different because I knew that this now counts on a different way. In a different way. Amateur, you can lose 2-3 L's. You can have 10. You can go 0-10 as an amateur. It's never gonna have. It's not gonna make an issue.
Yeah.
It's about the pro record.
Yeah.
And you can still lose as a pro and still be fine. You know, there's people that I know that are very close to good opportunities. They have some L's. It's different to boxing where very padded. MMA is such a savage sport. They know. But what do you want to know about the pro debut? How it was itself?
Yeah, because we haven't seen you. Like, we saw you obviously after we went to the fight and stuff, but it was like even just the moment before, because you questioning the entire thing.
Yeah.
So even before the fight, were you
The
thinking?
build up, the build up.
No, that's the thing. So because I love fighting still. What I'm saying is, it's also to do with the external thing. When I realized, because that was one of the reasons, I also realized I was attaching external to the fighting from within, which I wasn't aware of. And when I developed some more self-awareness, I was like, no, this isn't. I can still become the best fighter in the world, never have to fight in the UFC, and I can still do many other things. So the fighting thing, I love it. It's fun when I'm there. The fight itself was the best fight I've ever had, I've ever felt coming into it. I really, when it got booked and it was 100%, and I knew for certain, it was like a different click. Not like I went into a different mode. It's just things just shifted into perspective, and it's like, okay, no mucking about.
Yeah,
let's do this now. And
it was
everything that I
cancelled
learned,
the first time, wasn't it?
It was cancelled or rescheduled.
Rescheduled.
Did you have a fear that it might? Because there's been a couple cancellations like you've experienced. Did you have a fear that it might happen this time, or were you kind of?
I felt it was going to happen. I felt confident it was going to happen, and everything that I learned through amateur career, everything that I learned through in general since fighting, I put it into that preparation, and it all came to a head on the night. I felt so ridiculously calm. I remember before I walked out, I was so calm. I made sajda, as I always do that before anyway, just before walking out.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm down, I feel a little bit nervous, yeah. And then when I'm finished, I feel ready to go.
Yeah.
But even before making sujood, I was like, I knew I was still going to do it, but I'm like, I'm already calm. I'm already good.
Yeah. Sometimes I know I've reached like a level of calm, like what the hell? It's either because like preparation, like I know I've prepared myself. It's like just trusting Allah. It's like whatever's going to happen. Was it the same kind of thing?
It was both of those.
Okay.
It was both of those came together. And also probably helped that I had spent some time with some techniques to calm myself.
Yeah.
But those are all just, again, flesh wounds. The real one was, again, I always know when I go in there, it's already been determined. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Let's go. And the preparation, I knew it was different to know for certain. It made me feel like I never worked hard before in any of my fight camps. This fight camp. Yeah.
That difficult?
Bro, not even difficulty. It's just, it was that difficult, but just the exertion, everything that was involved in it.
Absolute took it much more like intense with you. So
I would say I took it more intense in absolute. They would always push you, but it's up to you to push to the next. I'm blessed that we have the team there that because you can only go as far as the resources you have available, and they're all there, and the team and everyone is mad at the people there to help out. But I really pushed it, and I definitely made sure I was good to go. I wanted 3 rounds.
Yeah.
I wanted 3 rounds.
You wanted to fight more.
But it is what it is. But I felt so calm. Even out there, I remember I looked at my coach, and I'm just like, bro, I'm so calm. I don't even feel like I'm about to fight. I'm like, I don't even feel like I'm about to fight. And he's like, do you want me to G you up?
That's a good coach though. That's a good coach.
And I'm like, no.
I was going to ask you,
like,
bro,
don't G me up.
do you need that G up?
That's the thing. That's why when I mentioned to him, and part of me was like, let me see what he thinks about this, because I never felt this ridiculous. Like, it felt just like right now, all good. I've never felt like that before a fight. There's a little bit of something, but there wasn't even. I felt, is there even adrenaline going on? I go, what's going on? I was just chilling.
I don't know.
Was it flow state?
I don't know who.
Flow state?
It really did feel like it, because walking out, all good. I walk in the cage, all good, all calm, all chilling.
Yeah.
Even when I faced off with him, I remember looking around and I was like, this is a laugh. And I even had to I even had to like move about a bit more. I'm like, at least warm yourself up in the cage. I was like, okay.
Bro, just imagine winning a fight, and then afterwards in the third round, it's like, God damn, I didn't fight long enough, bro.
And then
honestly,
we looked at each other, everything like, also I visualized a lot of this, so much. So it was so familiar. and we're walking there, and I'm like, in my head, I was like, good to go. Now let's just do it. Let's see what's going to happen here. And then as soon as we went, it was actually a learning curve because I started a bit slow. He threw 1 or 2 kicks.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Did come up pretty quick and nice, but I still should have been able to check them straight away or avoid. But it was kind of like, boom. I'm like, I remember thinking like, as if that touched me. Because I was like, as if that touched me. Then another one kind of grazed, and I was like, okay, but I still knew I was all good. And like,
did you know a lot about the fighter? Like,
I knew he was southpaw, and the guy I was gonna fight before was from his same gym. So when that guy pulled out, this guy jumped in.
Okay.
It
was his first pro fight as well.
His first pro fight as well. There was some familiar territory there. It wasn't brand new entirely. And then once I got my range, I knew it was a done deal.
Bro, you know what it is? When I saw like you were relaxed and then he hit the 2 leg kicks, I thought maybe you might have had a lot of like an adrenaline dump.
Yeah, okay.
And then in my head, I'm like, the best thing he needs right now is for the guy to attempt a takedown or to grab you. Because I think that can kind of like bring you or ground you into the situation, yeah?
Yeah. Because it's much more real. But it was when I flicked over into like because I think the flow state, whatever it is, was there the whole time, but there was a bit of a delay. And then once I clicked in, it was just after that second kick. And then when I avoided that first kick, I was already on then. Because then I could see everything. I avoided the first one. Next one came, stepped back, threw the deep kick to the head. And then he clinched, and then it was almost on autopilot. The grappling was more autopilot than the striking.
Yeah.
The grappling, he grabbed me, and I just...
Second nature.
Yeah, suddenly I was going for my underhook, whatever. Did what I needed to, took him down.
Just for people that don't know, it was first round, how long? 90 seconds or 2 minutes?
I think... I don't remember, actually. I think maybe 90 seconds.
Well done him for a bit, bro.
Yeah,
maybe 2 minutes. Maybe 2 minutes.
2
Because
minutes
I
and a
remember
half, 2.5,
yeah, the guy had, it's the start of it. You're not going to tap out in 30 seconds. One of those things was like the guy wants to give it his all. His face went red. You could see a vision, you know?
Another thing is to point out, I don't know if my coach will like me saying it, but I always give him props. Very good at monitoring people and I guess doing his research, and I trust his calls. And again, before walking out, he said to me, hey, if you get a rear naked on this guy, make sure you have it 100% before trying to just squeeze, because I don't think this guy's going to tap.
Okay, so he's not a tap.
He just character judge. He had it on point. He goes,
good.
I don't think this guy's going to tap.
Good,
He goes, so make sure you have it so you don't burn your arms out. And I remember when I did have it locked in, I was like, I felt it was in, and I was pretty, but because he said that, I was like, should I let this go? Because sometimes it's a smarter decision. But I was like, nah.
I trust him.
No offense to the guy, but you know what they say, bro. You got to fear someone who has nothing to lose. And that brother is...
Yeah, fact.
I want to leave that there, but...
Fact.
100%.
But yeah, he didn't tap, bro. He didn't tap. And then I knew he was out a little bit. And I was like...
Kind of feel it.
Upgrade it.
Yeah.
I went... Because I had the choke like this. And then when I went belly down and his legs stiffened, I go, mad, he's done.
Yeah.
And I just locked it up. Yeah.
I was the first fight of the night. Did like presenters or anyone talk to you after the fight? Like, because obviously it's your both first pro fight and your first fight of the night, like really, you know? So they might have had like low expectations.
Well, I think people wanted to see because it is what it is. I don't want to speculate on what people thought, but I spoke to one promoter out the back. He was happy, he liked it. But I'm glad I just got to show that I'm here for real.
Got
like
the win, yeah.
Because again, I need some tougher opponents to prove this, which will happen over time.
It's good also to kind of get a couple, you know, even
which
if
is smart.
And also if it's experience for you, because like you went in and it was your first time, you said you were a bit maybe too calm. Yeah. Then he got a couple kicks. If there was actually experienced guy, maybe he would know what to do, you know?
For like 100%. It's all learning curve. I'm glad for it, but I'm. How about when I lost it at the end? I stood up all calm, and that's when everything hit me.
EGG, bro.
I heard stories about that. I heard him in the gym. You guys lost your voice and stuff,
bro.
I lost my voice before the fight.
I look over and I just grabbed my mouth guard, I threw it, and I just started jumping up. It is what it is. And then I remember always when I'm up there, and then I'm like, I remember just being like, oh, I'm up on the cage again.
We're waiting for that. That's like the gym and that was funny.
I heard there was a chant. Sem.
That always G's me up, bro. But it's a good G up. The path to Hex one was where I learnt my lesson from that, because you guys did the same thing, and I got to experience that. It is a real G up like that. Not even you hear random saying all sorts, but when you recognize the voice and it's your boys, it's different, bro. It's different. Yeah. And then I G'd up too much, and I remember running in and throwing some random shit. This guy ended up catching me. And again, when I watched it back, I was like, my coach was like, "Why'd you run in? You had your range." And I was like, I G'd up a bit.
I got G'd up a bit.
And I learned from that. That's good. I can let that, because that can really. There's something about it's all, neurochemicals being released. That's all. That's all that's going on in terms of the G up and whatnot. You can be in the shittest position, feeling like you're having the worst time. Let's say you're on the assault bike and you're struggling, and then someone lets you know there's 20 seconds left. Bang! Suddenly,
you're ready to go.
energy.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but now I've learned how to use that a little bit more. Okay, mad. I've got the energy, but I'm not going to let it change my actions.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a
Because
good
at the end
G
of the day, fighting is a performance. Yeah. So you don't want to put your performance off.
and it's
by
more
just-
mental. But knowing you have like support and you can like recognize the voice or anything is actually meaningful.
Yeah.
I know the same like when I was playing soccer and I know someone's watching, I'm
Yep.
conscious
Yeah.
this guy's watching. But when no one's there, I know it's like it's not the same, you know?
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah,
nicer.
when everyone's in any competitive sport, bro, it's a
Different.
G up.
Yeah,
bro,
the G
grand
up is a big
final,
part of it.
Yeah.
I've never felt a G up like the fighting one though.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
bro.
probably true.
I'm
Because it's
fighting-
all on you though, because these are team sports.
Yeah, fighting's all adrenaline, bro. Fighting's like you have to
That's-
actually put everything in.
That's why I don't feel aggression, anger, or being hyper is necessary or even beneficial. It can be beneficial, but it's not the best thing to bring yourself into a fight. People G themselves up hardcore out the back with heavy rap music.
Have you
and
tried it before?
I tried it before my first Path to Hex, my first amateur fight,
Yeah.
and even some Muay Thai fights. I put on some rap song or whatever,
Yeah.
and I remember after the fight, I always realized this is not me. Number one,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah,
number
yeah.
two, it doesn't give me what I need.
You don't get the G up from it.
Yeah, there's not even. It's not the G up isn't even going to be beneficial. What I
that's true.
need to, because there's going to be adrenaline already. You have to perform.
Yeah.
I need to be calm.
Yeah.
I need to be calm and alert.
Is this
That's it.
is this why you meditate a lot as well? Yeah.
And meditation helps to develop those qualities.
And where'd you get this whole like idea of meditation or this practice?
Meditation. My first coach, Troy Skidmore. My first coach, Troy Skidmore, he was someone who meditated, and he always pointed out to me that me praying salah is a form of meditation.
Oh,
He's the
100.
first person that put it forward to me in that way. He's such a legend. I remember I'd pray on the mats, and I'd be like, "Oh, do you mind if I pray here, or should I?" He goes, "Pray on the mats in front of everyone." I was like, I would rather you. I'm like, what a legend. Then he started telling me about it. He'd ask me, what do I do when I pray? And I would tell him what I do. Like, what do you do when you make dua? I'd tell him what I do. And he goes, this is good. This is things that are similar to what I do.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to really help you on your journey, to don't drop your prayers, don't drop your thing and whatnot.
And this is a non-Muslim telling you this.
This is a non-Muslim telling me this.
Crazy.
SubhanAllah, bro. He's such a legend, this guy. He's a unique character.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started looking at how to rein in my attention. I would easily get distracted. And I came across meditation, in particular, focused awareness, which is selecting something to focus on and putting your awareness on that. Focused attention. So, for example, your breath. So it became something, just a tool to train my mind to be more
Alert.
to be more alert, but to pay attention better.
Yeah.
Because
Mindful.
to be more mindful for
Yeah.
sure. But it all started from that, really trying to get my practice in. So the idea is, just follow your breath. Every time you realize a thought has come into your head, which will happen,
Yeah, 100.
your mind gets pulled in a different direction, whatnot. That's one rep. Just like training. That's one rep. Now, nice and easy, just tell yourself, okay, back to the breath. And when I did that consistently, it actually improved my attention span. It actually improved my attention span. And I was like, okay, so this works for that. And I noticed other benefits from that. That's how I became a bit more self-aware, just by sticking to that practice. And then over time, a little bit more self-awareness. And I decided this is something I'm going to commit
How
to.
regularly do you do that?
I meditate every day. And if I can do more than once a day, then I will.
Yeah,
But it's now not something that's like a major commitment. It's like, I know when I'm not meditating, I'm not calm, I'm not in the same space. I'm aware of that place. So at times I might drift off from it.
Yeah.
But to be quite honest, I've been pretty consistent with it I don't think I've missed a day in a little while.
It's kind of an anchor.
Yeah.
Like you need it in your day. If not, you're going to be a bit off. Is it something where you measure it by time, or do you just do it until you kind of feel like that's enough? Sometimes people think I need 10 minutes. And if I don't get my 10 minutes, it's like,
I would say start small. It's good to use time at the start because 10 minutes is a commonly agreed upon one. if you stick to 10 minutes a day, just for, I would say within 2 weeks, you'll feel some of those benefits. Just I'm talking your attention span, and you'll notice that you're more alert, a little bit. Sorry, you're more aware, a little bit calmer. 10 minutes a day achieves that goal. 10 minutes a day, sit down, try and just follow your breath. Every time you get distracted, bring it back. There's many other resources out there that you can follow.
I know there's some other things you do as well, because I've seen your stories and stuff, and things that, like, for an everyday Joe or just a regular bloke, it's pretty weird, you know what I mean? But, like, I know, like, mentally, like to other people, it's like, why is this guy doing this, you know? Like, for example, you go to the beach in the morning, you know what I mean? Early while it's cold, and just jump in the water, you know what I mean? Why do you do stuff like that?
The beach, over COVID was when I first found
freezing water too.
Yeah, that's when I first found, around this time last year was when I first realized the main benefits of that. And it was also around the time I was starting to get into meditation. Yeah. And I was also looking at cold therapy, Wim Hof, breath work. Oh. And I found, okay, if I follow this guy's breath work and then hop into the cold, it's going to be beneficial in some way. But then I realized that hopping into the cold was better than the physical benefits. It was just that mental muscle. Yeah. It's just that mental muscle. Before you get in and you're freezing already and you feel the water and it's cold, you put a toe in, you go, cuz, I'm out. And then
I did it yesterday. I don't need to do it again.
And every time you go in and you get out, you realize, come on, that was not even an issue at all. Yeah. All it was the mental barrier. So that mental barrier, there's not many places we get to access that barrier and push through it. And it's not anyone's fault, really, that sometimes their common reaction to that is to go the other way. That's my common reaction too. Maybe it's a safety mechanism. But I found, okay, another place is the assault bike. That's a good place to get that barrier. But the colds, for sure, I'm like, that's an easy one to get that mental barrier. You don't need much. You just need to be cold.
I was listening to someone talking about that stuff here. And basically what happens is, because when you step in cold water or you have a cold shower, for example, you start to hyperventilate. So you start to breathe really fast and your heart starts to beat really quickly because your body's not used to this, you know? It's like, this is a state where my body's temperature's just dropping. And then you're trying to associate, for example, your rapid heart movement and your brain running 1,000,000 miles per hour. Because I don't know if anyone else feels this, but like I said,
happens.
I was like, bro, whenever I close my eyes and I'm having a cold shower, for example, just to get G'd up, bro, I close my eyes, all of a sudden I see Shaitan, bro. It's so bad, bro. It's so bad, bro. Hey, no, but the thing is, like, you remember, like, all bad experiences or something bad or whatever it is, but it kind of gets you because, and I remember this is because when my heart races really fast, it can grasp onto whatever memory has caused my heart to race really fast
it'll
before.
go to the worst case scenario sometimes.
And to associate meaning to the reason why my head is going so crazy and my heart is just beating so quickly. So a lot of the times, when it came to, like, for example, like, I'll talk about this in the future, is how I overcame anxiety and having panic attacks and stuff was because I didn't know what they were initially, but then obviously in the long run you start to realize, oh damn, okay, so that was the heart racing really fast, the chest closing in on itself, and you're like a loss of breath. It's kind of something similar to what you feel when you're in a cold shower or ice bath or whatever. And I was like, okay, there's something crazy about this because your brain can associate meaning without you controlling it. You know, it takes you back to that moment, to that time. And then, so what happens is, whenever I had a cold shower, I'll remember all the things that gave me anxiety in the past. Yeah, that's why I mean the devil. I don't literally mean Shaitan himself. You know,
but that's one of the key. What you described is exactly why it's such a miracle that cold water is right here and we can use it in this way, because you can use that stressful scenario to train yourself how to actually respond in stressful scenarios and improve your response in stressful scenarios. And that will carry on to situations that might be small stresses, even ones that aren't as, that don't throw you in the deep end like that. Even just small daily things. Okay, the breath is the key here. That's why breath work is a very, very important part of self-management. Yeah, big time.
And it's become a big thing recently as well. The whole idea behind
obviously people can have
and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, go.
I didn't know.
I was gonna dabble into like the Wim Hof thing as well, because like Yes Theory, the boys at Yes Theory went to Wim Hof and like didn't he win like a Guinness World Record for like the longest? Like the amount of records he's breaking is just ridiculous. And like this guy, going back to like the whole identity thing, yeah, went and built like a whole like chamber in his house that was just replicating the snow and the cold. Do you know what I mean? So every single day he's in there, just training his breath. And that to me is just, I'm just like, bruv, this guy's ridiculous.
So just to finish off on the cold one, you get to that mental barrier and you get to push through it. And that's why it's a beneficial thing to do, because the more reps you get, the better you do in pushing through that. And when you hit that mental barrier in other areas, you'll find that, it's
Have you gotten used to it though? Has it become comfortable?
It does. At the moment, no, because I dropped it off for a little while. But at the first lockdown, very first one when I was smashing them, it got to a point where it got much, much easier. Yeah. I also had to struggle through some, potential hypothermia. Once or twice, I tried being a hero too quick, too soon. Yeah. And I got way too cold, bro. It was not the best idea.
It's easy to go upstairs and have a cold shower, and you could have done that, but instead you went in the mornings to the beach. Why did you do that? Like, what's the difference?
Because I wanted that intensity of the scenario, but at the same time, there's some peace there as well. In the morning, so quiet. So it's a contrast, these two different things, and you get the best of both worlds. And it sets me up for a mad day.
And you don't control the temperature of the ocean, bro.
No.
You just got to take whatever comes.
Bang, go. And then sometimes it's going wild as well. Sometimes the waves are serene. Sometimes it's real choppy. It's all over. But it's a great place to develop characteristics. Like Rich Divini on the Rich Roll podcast, when he's talking about developing attributes, and he highlights intense scenarios as a place to, and also he highlights those scenarios as people wanting to know what are some of the attributes that I have that I'm not aware of. Look at how you responded in intense scenarios. He said COVID is one of the best. It's one of the best breeding grounds for this, because one, you can develop characteristics, but two, you can just look at how you acted in 2020.
Yeah, for sure.
What was my response in 2020? You guys, mashallah, built a beautiful podcast over this. It's one reaction you can look at and go, okay, in this type of scenario, this is how I react. You can also look at what you would prefer to do, what you would have done differently. But it's where you get a real glimpse, a true glimpse. What are the things I do in stressful scenarios? Because it's easy to put on a front when we're all comfortable. Yeah. But
I also became antisocial, but we'll leave that there.
Right, so same.
Okay, boy.
But I think
even on like a global scheme as well, like COVID itself exposed, like because COVID was like a stressful situation, exposed like from like big companies to society as a whole, the faults in it, you know what I mean? And then also on like an individual level as well, like ourselves, you know, we spoke about it when we were reflecting in 2020, like there's troubles and stuff, things we learned about ourselves that we wouldn't have known before, do you know what I mean? Because of the time we spent on our own. But yeah.
What are you saying on
I think being uncomfortable every single day, that's what like the Navy SEALs, they always kind of preach that. Anything you do, but anything you do kind of thing, like just being uncomfortable with one thing, like a cold shower or going into the water, it's a true test of character. Because sometimes people say cold showers are easy for them. So they have to maybe do something else which is uncomfortable, because as soon as you do that, other areas in your life will become so much easier.
Yeah. And the cold showers also, you will graduate from those, you know, they become real easy.
Yeah. Ice baths. That's where the next stage is. Ice baths are tough.
Yeah. Bro, I've been looking at YouTube videos how to make your own ice bath.
Yeah.
It's actually not that difficult. You get a chest freezer, waterproof it, put a timer on it, and there you go.
Oh, so you're gonna make your own ice bath in general? I thought you meant like, I was gonna say, bro, just like put water and then put some ice in it.
They say it's not cold enough. Technically, it's not really cold enough if you do it in your bath.
You can get actually pretty cold with that. You can get colder than what's needed. Yeah, depending on how much ice you have in there, and also if you add salt to ice, it also becomes even colder. But this is not necessary. Yeah,
because I've seen some bodybuilders. They have like actual freezer. You know, the long freezers.
That's the one I'm talking about. Chest
open it
freezer.
up. Yeah,
boy. Sickos like you, bro. All of them.
That's like a fridge basically, but on the floor.
Yeah, but honestly, it's something you need to do.
The cold and breath. The reason why they go so well together is because, like you said, the cold elicits that response.
Yeah, that physiological response.
And what that is, we're the only animal that can regulate their breath. Our diaphragm, we have control over it. The others, they can't choose. You know, it is what it is.
was gonna make a joke.
But for us, I could see he had that smirk on. I was like, oh, what's coming here?
Yeah.
But for us, we have that ability to regulate our breath. And what's interesting about that is our breath in turn regulates us. So whether we're in a parasympathetic state or a sympathetic state, it's regulated by our breath.
Okay.
Short, rapid breaths, I believe, is going to take you to a sympathetic state. Is that the heightened state?
I have no clue what you said.
There's one that's heightened, fight, flight, and there's one which is rest, digest.
Mm-hmm.
So developing some breath work protocols, it's going to help you. Like in the weight cut, when that's still probably the hardest thing, harder than ice bars, everything. It's something that I go to out of instinct now. When it's shit house and it's rough, and you even see your body start to go, you just start monitoring your breath, controlling your breath. So, long story short, longer, deeper inhales and exhales will bring you to a rest and digest. It'll calm you as well, put you in a calmer state. And shorter, sharper inhales and exhales will get you to the fight or flight response.
More blood to your heart.
Yep. So this is something you can use even if you're, for example, I finished training and I know that it's time for me to eat, and the quicker I eat, the better. But I also know that if I eat in that state that I'm at, it's not also the best in terms of absorption and whatnot. So you can, instead of waiting so long, 2-3 minutes of breath work, bring you to a calmer state, eat your food, you'll digest it better. You can use this as a general tool. It's the number one tool to develop. That and meditation, I feel like they go really, they'll be very beneficial to.
But there's also different stages that you kind of have to go through. Like sometimes maybe when you first want to like plant the seed, you need like motivation from people to kind of G you up to know why you value going to the gym or working out or doing MMA or taking your sport serious. And then it's like the discipline. And then it's these next chapters or stages you have to go through just to excel in it.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
But I want to talk to you about motivation. Obviously, to be successful in like UFC or MMA, what you want to do, and it takes a lot of discipline. And then a lot of people think, oh, if I'm not feeling good today, I shouldn't train. Or I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like you wake up at 6 a.m., for example, and you want to be productive. Like, I don't feel like waking up. So they go back to sleep and they go with their emotions kind of thing because they don't feel motivated. You know, like how
I think
unimportant is motivation and how important is discipline. Like really.
I think they're both necessary. Discipline, you know, there's a quote we may have heard, which is, you know, you can't rely on motivation, so develop discipline. But motivation is also necessary. And I think discipline, I won't say all fighters are disciplined. I myself definitely am not the most disciplined person. And again, a younger version of myself might say, I am disciplined. But now, I know I am not disciplined. Meditation has made me much more disciplined because I'm aware and able to see my impulses. Whereas earlier, you don't have that control. You can't even see the impulses. Man, you're just moving on kind of autopilot. But motivation and discipline, a good example of why, let's say you have someone that's fighting and then in order to do well, they need a level of discipline to commit to a training schedule. But if there are boys in the gym that you all are training together and you actually enjoy it, even when your body's wrecked and whatnot, discipline is not a factor there that you can claim to have because it's now just a regular thing. Or let's say you've made a promise that you're going to be training and whatnot, and now it's like, oh, you're tired, and you know that maybe you wouldn't actually go to this, but you made that promise and you go. Now, of course, there's still discipline there because some people will still just not do it, and then regardless of the promise. But if you see what I'm saying, it's like
some are external and some are internal because the people are geeing you up or telling you you have a commitment, so you don't want to look bad.
Yeah, you don't exactly, and that can be
discipline.
A motivating factor for you.
Yeah.
Or it could be that you want to be a world champion so bad that you get yourself up and go. But I still wouldn't say that that's discipline because that's just your desire directing you there, just like other desires directing other people. I think discipline is a real thing in whatever. The best book, Brian Tracy's one,
No excuses.
right there. It's the description they have in that book for discipline is doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, regardless of whether you feel like it or not. And when you look at that description, you realize it's just a function or a protocol. That same description can you can still fulfill that description by having those other motivations, like wanting to, let's say, wanting to feed your family. That could be one, and you'll do what needs to be done regardless of whether you feel like it or not. Or the same thing with the coach or the team. So I think discipline can be developed, got to work on it, but what's easier than that is to create the scenario for yourself.
Yeah. Not only
Create the scenario for yourself to do this, to make it easy to do the things you need to do when you need to do them.
What do you mean create the scenario?
Like he was talking about him being more than just a fighter, for example. Like there's some sort of...
And also, even in the most basic form of looking at your environment, if you know, like, let's say, even though you can alter your environment, let's say you're smashing too much Uber Eats, which I've done many times.
Where?
Uber Eats, because
That's the liar, bro.
But then you go, okay, I can delete the app. That's one small way of saying how you can alter your environment, you know, make it easy for yourself to have this. But you can just download the app again, right?
Yeah. It's not hard.
100%.
How about the consistency? Because sometimes it's easy to be disciplined, like in the moment, like because you're like the motivation was there, then you kind of just, it's a habit, but then it's like the consistency long term. Sometimes when you don't see results, you know, a lot of people, like what you said about breathing, they breathe for they do meditation for 10 days. Like, I don't feel better. This is garbage.
Yeah.
It's an easy thing to do.
That one is a rough one because I feel it depends on how things are brought to you, you know. People have told me about, like I said, Troy told me about meditation. I barely looked into it. It was more when I went into it myself looking for attention in terms of how to monitor my attention and my attention span, that I went into, okay, cool. And then I found, I'm like, okay, wow, this is really beneficial. But in terms of longevity, it's self-management. I think all about developing self-awareness. That's where it all starts.
Yeah.
Develop self-awareness, and then you just take the blockers, the blocks out of your own way. At the moment, there's things I don't even know might be blocking me, but I know that I'm definitely seeing more than what I was able to see, you know. And sometimes you just get that as you grow older. Experience. These older people that have been through it all. That's also, experience. You can't deny. You can't cheat. But that's an example of it.
Yeah.
Then I have to have the self-awareness. They've seen it.
That's true. That's true. Also with discipline as well. I personally believe it's one of those things that it's not overnight. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like motivation, you can quickly get a G up. Like let's say you got to fight the next morning or something like that, or you want to do something uncomfortable. You can automatically just say to yourself, "Hey, let me get some sort of G up." Do you know what I mean? But the discipline to do that consistently is a thing that takes over time. Like takes time. You know, you can't just go overnight and just say, "Hey, I want to become a fighter and do what a fighter does." You know,
for sure. And then at a certain point, the consistency takes over, and that's when I feel like anyone that commits to anything long term, the long term commitment starts to pay some reward to you.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, it becomes normal.
Exactly.
It becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And you don't have to put as much effort into maintaining that habit. It's already normal. But it requires some commitment. But you also, discipline, longevity, all these things, I feel it's a holistic thing.
Yeah.
They're all interrelated. They're all interrelated.
But
and
those
you can't rush the process either.
Yeah.
You need to fail. You need to do well. You need to do a lot of things. And
that's true.
Over time, we all find our own way.
But those two words are used interchangeably, and I think they're used incorrect sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Because a person that's disciplined can fall off one day. Do you know what I mean? So they might need that motivation. I remember this guy once telling me like the idea or like analogy, and I forgot the quote was about motivation. It's like a motivation's like a bath. We all need it once like every second day or so. Do you know what I mean? So like you can get
discipline is there forever. Yeah,
it's not there forever. Exactly.
Yeah, every day or so.
Yeah. Do you have a bath every single day?
You have to, bro. Yeah, bro. I want to change gears, man. I want to switch topic, inshallah, because I know you're not Sem Kakembo who floats and does meditation every single day, bro. There's something else to Sem Kakembo. What else do you enjoy doing, bro? Talk to us. Besides the private stuff.
I enjoy business. That's also been a passion of mine since young. You know, when I look at myself, well, I'm still young, I guess, but when I look at myself as a kid, I see what I gravitated towards was always business, sports, fighting, English. I love reading. I love learning.
You have to drop some books that you recommend. Obviously, it's hard to give a general, but just because of the topics we've been speaking about, you got to give a couple.
All right, I'm going to try and think of some.
Done.
Can you give me 2 seconds?
Take your time, finish.
But first I'll finish this one. So I love learning, I love self-development, family, even though I spend less time than I would like to. Now it's becoming more and more apparent to me every single day that this is the real, there's nothing else that is like that. Yeah. We all can understand that.
You say your dad's from Uganda and your mum's.
My mum is Chinese Malay, and my dad is from Uganda. Yeah.
So what's like?
Do you know what was an interesting thing I learned the other day? Like, I was learning about family, spending time with your family, and then one guy changed my perspective on it because he started talking about how obviously different families want different things, especially when you have kids, you want to spend as much time as you can with them. But sometimes there's spending like, I don't know, I'll say 6 hours a day, then there's the extra and the extra. So he said, I prioritize my family legacy over my family like extra leisure. Do you get it? So when I'm leaving to go, for example, fight or train or go read an extra book and learn about investing, I'm actually doing it for my family. So instead of spending time with them for that extra like short term, extra, because obviously you want to build memories, but it's the extra. I'd rather build a legacy where maybe later on I can spend even more time with them, so I can be financially free, or I can have less health issues and stuff like that. So I can, in the long term, there'll be gains, but in the short term, you're going to miss out on a couple. So it's like it's a family legacy mindset. Your mindset shouldn't be like that. Your mindset is you're supposed to desire a long life and stuff. And obviously, it's still spending a minute, like the amount of time with them. Like you go watch a movie with them, but in the extra 2 hours, you'll be like, I'll make it 1 hour and I'll spend it trying to invest in it.
I know, but if you're like always rushing and you always got somewhere to go and somewhere to be, your kids will
be miss out sometimes.
Close, bro.
But I think it's a middle ground between the both.
Yeah, it has to be.
But to summarize it, because I guess if you say what I like, there's so many things I like. But if you're talking in that sense, anime, I rate.
You're a grown man. You like it, and I'm joking.
I love it.
He's gonna keep bars, bro.
Since me in the gym since 10, 11, we've been watching anime non-stop, bro.
Yeah, that guy doesn't
like
stop
children, bro. Till now, not gonna stop. Even Seg, regardless of what any of them say, we're hardcore on anime. I don't watch it as much now. Actually, would like to watch it more, unfortunately, but I actually don't have time to. I hate saying it, but I don't have time to. But I love camping too.
Yeah. Why don't you like Atomic Habits talks about attaching a habit you want to do, the habit you need to do. So, for example, I used to watch The Office, and I used to say, okay, if I'm watching The Office, I have to stretch. So I'll be on the foam roller for like an hour, but
That's
at least I'm benefiting at the same time.
Yeah, that's man, honestly, I'm going to take that one on board. I forgot about that.
It's a good thing to do.
If I know that downtime is good, I can say, okay, well, on my downtime, I'm going to make sure I'm watching my anime.
Doesn't it seem like very... It doesn't seem leisurely or whatever it is. How do I say it? Just to go, I need to schedule downtime.
And to go back to book recommendations, I don't know. I'm starting to overthink on the question, but I'll just say books that I really like.
Yeah.
You have a cold shower for me, guys? I'll say The Alchemist, one of my favorite books.
You and Sus are friends now.
my guy. When he swaps seats, I'm joking. The Alchemist. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho is one of my favorite books. I love it. I just like that book a lot. Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. I need to read it again, but I think
just read that actually. I know you rated it.
Yeah, the timing of when I read it was when I went to Thailand. It was one of the books I brought with me when I was down there, and out of all the books I brought, I think there's only 3 that I actually finished, and that was one of them. And it changed my perspective on a lot of things, realizing that intelligence was something. My understanding of the word intelligence I'd bring up different definitions. And then, again, that was a little doorway into, okay, there's more to book smart and reading. No. This was a great book for me. And then another, Malcolm X's bio I read that one very young, maybe too young. But it was a great book as well because, again, you got to see what the world is like in other people's shoes. And then the 4-hour work week, although I barely go back to it, I barely refer to it, I just like the book because it, again, made another paradigm shift for me. Let's aim for some work where I don't have to commit myself in the same way.
That book's a book you can always go back to.
Always can go back
They
to.
say that's like the foundation book.
You know, I just recently figured out that book was #1 on the New York bestsellers for about...
He's an interesting guy.
It was definitely over a decade. You should listen to his podcast. There's a podcast series called How I Built This.
I think I've seen that one.
Guy Raz or whatever.
I've seen it as my recommended.
Yeah, it's an amazing podcast. So it interviews like guys that have gone to the top or built something from the ground up. And then they interviewed Tim Ferriss, you know what I mean? And Tim Ferriss also speaking about the whole identity paradigm and all that kind of stuff, he speaks about how Tim Ferriss was initially, what he got big on was the 4-hour work week. So everyone knew him as the 4-hour work week guy, the health guru, the mental guru, and all this kind of stuff. So then he goes to himself, he goes, the 4-hour work week was #1 on the New York bestsellers for over a decade. He goes, but I didn't want to be known as that guy who was the, it's called 4-hour work week. So he went and tried different things. Now he's known as the guy who's sort of the weird guy, because he goes and tries weird things, like how to read faster. Do you know what I mean? Different type of drugs that would, drugs that will help you perform at an elite level. Do you know what I mean? And then now he's known as like the podcasting guy.
There's
drugs
and there's drugs. Apparently.
Anadol.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Tim Ferriss a goat.
I wanna touch on anime, bro, because I'm getting sick of all this book talk. To be honest with you, sorry,
Go for it.
bro. What movie do you recommend people to watch? Because I know
Anime?
Mamdora's been going hard with this.
Mum's
Attack on
was
Titan?
OG
He
on
loves
anime.
Attack on the Titan, bro.
Attack on Titan, yeah, it's a solid anime. There's so many. The thing is, when it comes to anime, now I'm gonna nerd out on you, cuz you brought this.
I watched
Better be ready for it.
before you start that.
Okay,
I
go.
watched the Castle of Cagliostro. It's got Lupin.
Lupin?
Yeah, he's in it.
What is this, an anime?
You're talking about
Yeah.
Lupin the anime, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I watched
yeah.
Lupin, the actual show. That went off.
Yeah, but that's what
French
it's
one,
based
yeah.
off. Yeah,
Oh,
isn't that what it's based off?
I don't know the one that you mentioned, but I know the Lupin character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
The French
basically
dude.
bro. But this is what I don't like anime. Yeah.
But you
No,
brought up
it's a
the
mad.
And I was enjoying my
I
topic.
watched it. I said I watched it. Listen. Let me finish. Yeah.
This is a rant.
Yeah.
This is a therapy session
This
now.
is a therapy session now. Okay, you're gonna listen. You're gonna like it. Yeah. Basically, we watched this movie. We were at a trip in what's it called? Mornington Peninsula.
Yeah.
We're sitting there and we're watching this movie, and I'm like, bro, this is a mad movie, bro. This guy's going from lips and bounds to save this princess
Yeah.
because she's gonna get forced marriage to this I think her cousin or something, bro. I don't even know
Like
what
a
that
Bollywood
was.
movie, bro.
Yeah. Sounds like a Lebanese movie now. So basically, yeah, what happens is he makes it to the thing. He gets absolutely demolished. Yeah, and this guy has to recover from his thing, and he has to go back to save her, and then he ends up pulling it off because he's a master thief, basically. Yeah, he ends up saving her, and at the end she's like, "I love you. I can't think of my life." Whatever. He's like, "You don't want to get involved with me." And then what happens is he saves the princess, and everyone's perception of him changes, and he's like, "Yeah, nah, I'll leave that. I'm gonna go back to what I usually do." And then he's like, "You're gonna find someone you love. Don't worry about it." And I'm sitting there at the end. I'm like, "You went through so many loopholes to get this, bro. He almost died to save this girl." And then he goes at the end, "Nah."
So you're not a fan of anime.
Bro, I was.
You've been holding on to that rant since Mornington Peninsula,
Bro,
bro.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm like,
you had to get that off.
they're
your
like
chest,
Sem's
bro.
on it.
None of
I'm
us have
like,
watched it.
bro, I beg you. I'm telling you, it was a good show. It was
Nah,
a good.
yeah.
good
We're on a
movie.
roll with the books.
Bro, good movie. Good movie. Don't get me wrong, but me,
What's
This
it
is
called, by the
thing with
way?
anime, because
Castle of
Castle,
Castaglio.
okay.
It's actually rated one of the best movies, but Karen.
because people that don't watch anime, to them it must seem like it's only one category or only one genre. Anime is like movies, like anything else. There are many different genres, category, whatever it is that you like. Series, movies, crime, whatever, like sport.
Yeah.
They're all there.
Captain Majid.
But
No.
the anime
Yeah,
I would
that-
recommend,
Bruv, the
there's
hate-
too many.
I watched Death Note, which
Death Note's good.
is a very good place to start. A lot of
Yeah,
people recommend
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's the only one I've watched.
You rated it?
Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
they're so because they're
It's
so
calling
out
me out.
there.
It's a good place to start. It's not too long. You don't want to give an anime, it's like 300 episodes.
Yeah, no.
If someone's going to start, let them get used to it.
Yeah.
So
Because
that
they're
was good.
so out there, I'm telling you, I'm gonna get this guy to be an anime addict. Cause we're gonna have podcast round 3. I'm gonna do some work on this end.
Ali's going to come on the app instead.
I come back and start speaking Japanese, bro.
There's too many anime to name, but there's all the main ones that people watch. But those are the long ones like Naruto, Bleach, all these ones. They've been around for quite some time. One Piece. There's heaps. Hunter x Hunter, good.
Yeah, I
Death
heard
Note
that
is a
one.
good. Hunter x Hunter, fire, bro. There's also fight animes that I used to watch as a kid probably helped me get into fighting. I'd watch them,
Like
and then I'd get to Sangha outside. We'd create a square. I go, that's it.
Bro,
Put socks on our hands and we start throwing punches.
Semakadde and Sasanga sounds like they're in an anime, bro. You notice it? Wallah, what a that's mad, bro.
At one point, we even said we're gonna write an anime, bro.
That sounds sick, man.
That's crazy.
Hey,
But
wallah.
there's a boxing anime, because I told you. Now I'm
Talking
on a
about
roll.
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man, that's good too. But there's a boxing anime. There's a Muay Thai anime even that I've seen. I used to watch these as a kid, and I'd G up so hard.
And your brothers are into it as well.
Hard. This is all we've
It's
been
how you're raised.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised watching anime, so it's harder to get into. But other people, you know?
We'd have the shared computer time, and we'd even make deals. We're gonna watch. I'd have 30 minutes. Okay, I've done some chores. You got 30 minutes. Computer Sang gets 30 minutes. Say get 30 minutes. I go, boys.
Come on,
we pull it together. 90 minutes of Naruto. Mad done. And we'll just sit there and watch, bro. Anime was a solid memory.
Was
bro.
dubbed version or non-dubbed?
Dubbed at the start, and then as I became even more of a nerd, I went to
You Asian side.
I went to the subs.
Are you one of those that like learned the language as well?
Nah,
You know those people that like.
No, Sasanga went so hard in anime because he started learning Japanese, bro,
Yeah.
just by watching
That's
so many animes.
No, that hard?
Because these kids, again, I'm talking shared computer time. Fast forward 5-6 years, he's got his own iPad. You know what I mean? So unlimited anime all day. Whereas I'm out here trying to work at Toll. This guy's stuck watching anime. But, bro, yeah, he started to learn the language, which shows you can learn just from watching.
Yeah, that's true.
When I was in Jordan, I used to meet people that spoke English with an American accent. I said, "Oh, you been to America?" They go, "Nah." How'd you learn the language? They're like, TV. It's like that's the level they learn it. They pick up the accents and stuff like that. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, switch another gear, bro.
Oh.
'Cause I want to talk a little bit more because obviously you're a UFC fan as well as trying to compete, bro.
Same.
You've been keeping up with Diego Sanchez. Boys, I'll give you a little context in a second, yeah, but this is a bit cooked. So basically, there's an old UFC fighter.
Man.
Yeah, he's considered an icon because he was one of the first.
He's the first to win the first Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
First Ultimate Fighter. The first season of it, he won it.
yeah,
Been
bro.
around since then.
And basically, yeah, this guy, he's been around the block for a bit. He stayed in the UFC at least I think 12 years. So he's been there since
Maybe
inception.
more. Yeah, since almost the start.
And then this guy's been with some of the best gyms, bro. Like Greg Jackson, and he was in some proper gyms. And then out of nowhere, recently he just turned into a bit of a hippie, and people don't understand what's going on with him, bro. He came out to bro, when he was fighting in I think it was Abu Dhabi or UAE, bro. Oh no, it was at the Fight Island. He came out to oh my god, it's a Muslim, it's like a Muslim nasheed.
He walked out to it. I didn't even know that.
Wallah,
I'm not surprised because he was.
The famous one?
Is it in Arabic or English? Nasheed?
I don't like putting labels on it, but it's a Sufi nasheed.
Oh.
Okay.
It's no, something similar to that. It's
Bismillah, go on. Yeah.
anyways,
Or is that a part of the story?
so basically, yeah, but he's kind of gone on this spiritual journey, and a part of this spiritual journey is he meets this guy called Joshua Fabian. And this is crazy because in the MMA community,
You gotta show these guys a
nuts,
video
bro.
after this.
Oh,
Of them training. Have you seen it?
that's
Of him hanging upside down? That's abuse.
Wait, Joshua Fabian, is that a made up guy?
no, bro.
Sounds like a made up
Bro.
name.
He's got two first names.
When you see the video, it'll explain everything because it's not something you can watch and go, everything's all good. You watch and you go, okay, he's.
Do you watch these shows?
I've watched it and poor guy, man. I'm like, hey, what's he doing? What's he doing?
He's got him hanging upside down, you know, like Spider-Man.
Yeah, like when you got.
There's all boxing bags.
It's like from the monkey bars, like what we
And
did
then
as kids.
he's one of the boxing bags. So he's got him hanging upside. There's all boxing bags. He's got him hanging upside as one of the boxing bags in a dungeon. And then you're watching the video and go, what's he doing? The guy's hanging like a bat. He's got his feet together. He's doing these ones. Then
It's cool string.
he just hits him square hard on the
Punching
head,
him.
kicks
Yeah.
him, starts using him as a boxing bag. And his idea is, I'm trying to get him to, as like other guys, you know, they'll worry when they get hit. They start to spaz out. They get a bit, he's going to be used to it.
Upside down, blood rushing to his head.
Hooked him hardcore. And
Subhanallah.
it's a laugh. But Diego, there's a few things people pointed out that led him there. He's early on when he had one of his first L's, there's an interview and they're asking him, oh, so what happened? Why do you think you lost? And it was obvious why he lost. You know, there was a skill deficit. And he couldn't take anything on board. He was like, yeah, well, look, he blamed it on other people, other circumstances. like in an explicit way, like my coaches or my this or my team, or he quickly started blaming things. And I think that is going to lead you down the wrong path, because now the issues that are there for you to fix, you're not fixing.
Yeah.
You're running to the next guy, the next guy, the next guy. Now you end up hanging upside down, cuz. Doing boxing bag ones.
Lesson learned, bro. Lesson learned. Don't point the finger, cuz
Don't point
you're
the
gonna
finger.
be getting CTE from some random guy who
Joshua
claims to be a
Fadia.
trainer, bro. You know what it is? You don't understand how good this guy was. He was actually fighting for a title against arguably one of the greatest champions in UFC history.
Who's this?
BJ Penn.
Okay.
He fought BJ Penn. He got clapped. I'm not gonna lie to you. He
But
got
to even get there.
yeah.
Yeah, there's some level, there's some skill there.
Yeah, he
Even
was.
being
And
there
he won
already.
Ultimate Fighter.
He won the Ultimate
Ultimate
Fighter,
as well.
and he's one of the OGs. I think he's been in the UFC potentially for the longest out of everyone else.
Damn.
Clearly should have stopped a little while ago.
Yeah, but if he's still winning Ultimate Fighter, he's still got the skill set.
No, this happened ages ago.
Oh.
Ages ago.
Okay.
So, bro, yeah, nah.
Doing upside down ones. He's not winning.
Wallah. I had to switch gears on that one, bro, because
Had to be
obviously
said,
I
man.
can't have these convos with these blokes because they don't even know. Who's,
Message me.
yeah, bro.
But you gotta watch one anime a week.
Yeah, nah, hey, got done, bro. I watch Attack on Titan 1
I'm
and
gonna
2.
send you an anime to do with fighting. There, these guys. That's when I first started to hear about jujitsu and whatnot. There was an anime called, no, I'm talking about that's a
than
new
one?
one. I'm talking about
There's more than
Bucky the Grappler. Bucky the Grappler. Seg
Bucky.
actually.
Wait.
Seg, you know how Seg about this
It's
because
on
we had a
Netflix?
mad
Sounds
fight
dangerous,
over this
Bucky.
one time. For some reason, I just kept ripping into Seg and saying the word Bucky for some reason, and one day he lost it. You know, it was a laugh. We always laugh about it, even till now. But that anime, the kid, he goes and he has to learn all these different martial arts, but it's like he's had a shit go, and he has to learn them for real, like to help himself out.
Yeah.
And they go through, and I'm looking at all these names. I'm like, what's this? Jiu-jitsu? The guy's wearing a white thing. I go, that's the one I didn't care about the most. The one I liked the most was Muay Thai.
Yeah.
The guy's throwing hands and elbows. I'll go, mad.
That's
Did you ever want to go pro in Muay Thai? Because I know you're
No,
doing training in
not
Thailand.
anymore.
Just for I remember
Maybe
just
I'll
training.
tick one off eventually, but now no. I just want to, just MMA.
It's actually very high risk for such a low reward, bro.
Like injuries,
Like on top of injuries, because it's basically the art of the
elbows
eight
and the
deadly limbs,
shins. Yeah.
But then on top of that, there's actually there's no massive market for it. It's such a niche.
To make
Yeah.
money there,
I remember your Thailand stories. These guys would get on top of cars on the way to fights, and everyone in the streets cheering them on and
So
all
Yeah.
the fights
Yeah.
and stuff.
my Thailand stories,
Maybe it was Zeki.
yeah.
Yeah, my other
But
mate.
I've never
my-
seen that.
Yeah, my other mate did some.
But I know that they do that.
Yeah, do you know
Like,
Zeki?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he lived in Thailand. He was doing some training.
Wait, why they do that? To G the fighters on?
It's just their culture.
The
huh?
fighters there have a lot of respect, but no money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just life. It's
Yeah.
lifestyle,
Yeah.
bro.
They get around them.
Oh,
Yeah, but
I heard in your first year of uni, you went to America. You got called out for like
Yeah.
a fighting camp or something
I
along
went
those lines.
there- I went there for jiu-jitsu.
Competition?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah.
And I lost, and I remember that was like a big burn. I was like, because based on the guys we were training with, which when we went to America, there were some guys there that, more high quality guys that had some accolades as well in the arena that I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
And I was doing well against them, so I was like, I'm at least competitive here.
Yeah.
And it was. I lost by an advantage, but I remember burning so much, and it was one of those moments that
You went
like,
twice,
alright. I went twice.
yeah? Yeah, you did.
That's pretty good though, losing like early on. That probably humbled you
I
a
went
lot.
as a white belt. Yeah, I went as a white belt in the
Yeah.
white belt division, still, of course, and it was good. I just was committed to it hardcore from the start. I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm doing.
But think how brazy that is, bro. First year, like you're just finding your feet in the world. Yeah. Then you just go to the other side of the world. You know what I mean? Pack your
Learn a
bag.
good learning curve.
Did you give it much thought that the competition, or was it one of those things like you were offered and you're like, yeah, bet I'm going?
Nah, this one is not an offered thing. This is you sign up to do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
so I'm like, this is a high level competition, and
Top
like,
UFC fighters were there, weren't they?
Yeah, but they would compete in jiu-jitsu, of
Gotcha.
course. Yeah, but yeah, it's more when it comes to that jiu-jitsu and UFC fighters. There's not a big correlation. Like the best jiu-jitsu guys are. There's very few of the best jiu-jitsu guys doing MMA.
Yeah, Gracie, then there was Damian Maia in his prime. But if you're too one-sided in a sport like MMA, bro.
Especially
Yeah.
nowadays, new generation coming up. It's just like anything else where the next generation, there's always going to be a better
Yeah.
and better. And now they're just one-sided, and being a specialist is not enough.
Yeah.
You need to be good at all.
Analyze.
Yeah.
But tell us more about the mindset after you lost, though. Like how like what were you going through at the time? Now coming back to Melbourne.
Bringing up trauma, bro. You're gonna have to start doing breathing exercise on the podcast.
No, because think about it. Think about it this way. Yeah, people
That's
like
what triggered me, bro. For my breathing exercises. Nah, look.
now think about it because like inshallah one day when you do make it to the UFC, people are gonna realize like, yo, how did this guy Sem make it? Like he was one of us, grassroots and whatnot. You know what I mean? And people, they're all gonna see like the flashy sides of everything. Do you know what I mean? His first pro fight he won.
Yeah, you see now people already start to put you in a different box, like it's a special thing or a special. It's not a special thing. It's not. It's just persistence. You know,
Stop being humble, bro.
No, facts.
Not everyone can walk in the ring like that, bro.
Anyone can.
But also,
anyone can. It's
it's
different set of
training
circumstances. What if you were in my shoes, and you ended up deciding I'm gonna just fight at that age?
What size are you?
What was that?
Huh?
Honestly, the same thing will happen.
Yeah, true.
It's what happened when I lost. I remember I was annoyed, but I had the right coach with me. He taught me how to lose. You can't. I've seen other people lose, and they treat their people within. Just look, they have wrong reactions. I got taught the right reaction. If it burns, mad. Let that fuel you. There's nothing else you can think about it. It is what it's already happened. There's nothing else. Okay,
Sure.
Cop the L.
Did you lose both years when you went?
Yeah, I lost as blue belt. Blue belt, I remember how I lost. Oh, yes, I do. Again, I lost on points. White belt even worse because it was advantage. Advantage is like lower than a point. So we're even on points, and then I lost on an advantage. And then blue belt, even worse because I felt even more capable. And I had even more evidence that I go, okay, I'm good to go. And yeah, the guy that I lost to ended up doing well. He came second. Out of like many people, like big divisions. But it is what it is. You have to perform on the day at the time. That's what you learn from these things.
Alhamdulillah, bro.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on last thing before we wrap up. I used to do a bit of Muay Thai in North Melbourne, and there was a brother that used to always be in the ring. I didn't even notice who he was. Obviously, I think you might know him very well, or you might have just briefly spoken to him. He used to be in the ring, and he used to be smashing the pads with Sam Greco.
Oh, yeah.
Big brother, he's now in the UFC. He just recently lost to Anthony Smith. His name's Jimmy Crute.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I remember seeing him in the ring recently at that main event, yeah? And I was like, bro, this guy looks so familiar, man. And then we saw him on the, when you're fighting on the Hex fight card as well, they did like a little...
preview.
Yeah, about who made it to the UFC from the same event. So basically what I'm trying to say is, the Hex fight series isn't no joke, because who was the champion? Israel Adesanya was a champion there. Jimmy Crute was a champion there.
Many people. Who else? A lot of boys from CKB have fought there. I think at least 7-8 plus UFC fighters have come from Hex.
Yeah,
more maybe.
So you got to give yourself some flowers, bro. MashaAllah, you're doing very well for yourself, man.
And Sem's the next upcoming.
Like I said, we're there, bro. We're backing you, inshallah, bro.
I appreciate it.
I heard you're walking in the stage next time with a Fair Dinkum t-shirt.
Hey, I'll put the Fair Dinkum logo on the shirt because I didn't walk out with a shirt with any logos on the shirt this time, but now I've got some sponsors. I'm gonna put logos there, and anyone that hope sponsors don't get mad, I'm gonna be like,
they paid.
You're going on the shirt. Facts.
Legend, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Legend,
Respect.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
Bro,
Means
thanks
a
for
lot.
having me.
Yeah.
Listen,
Pleasure.
like and subscribe if you want. If you don't want, we don't. No, I'm joking. Please do it. Thank you.